If your body is lying down, but your nervous system is still standing guard, this is for you. You're not exhausted because you did too much today. You're exhausted because you've been holding yourself together for too long. Not outwardly, internally. There's a quiet strain that comes from carrying a version of yourself that never fully rests. The part that stays alert. The part that keeps score. The part that doesn't fully set itself down at night. Nothing is wrong with you for feeling this. This response makes sense, and it doesn't need to be carried alone tonight. It's a predictable response when the nervous system hasn't been given permission to release its grip. And tonight, that grip doesn't need to be analyzed or fixed. Notice how the body is already doing something on its own. Breath is moving without instruction. Air enters quietly. Air leaves a little longer than it came in. That longer leaving matters. Each extended exhale slightly increases carbon dioxide tolerance in the blood. That shift sends a clear signal through the vagus nerve. The signal says, no immediate action is required. You don't have to try to help that happen. The body already understands this pathway. Heart rhythm begins to space itself more evenly when pressure to perform disappears. There may still be thoughts moving. That doesn't mean anything has failed. Thought activity often spikes right before regulation begins. Let those thoughts stay unfinished. Not followed. Not corrected. Incomplete sentences fade faster than resolved ones. Breath continues again. In, barely noticeable. Out, a touch longer, less effort. As exhalation lengthens, baroreceptors in the chest register reduced pressure demand. Blood pressure stabilizes without conscious control. The prefrontal cortex eases its monitoring role. There's no requirement to stay alert to this. Monitoring keeps the system awake. Absence of monitoring allows dissent. You may notice the jaw resting more heavily, tongue no longer bracing, shoulders releasing a fraction of their upward pull. These are not instructions being followed. They are outcomes, signs that sympathetic drive is giving way to parasympathetic dominance. Another breath cycle passes. In, faint. Out, longer, smoother. Each long exhale slightly blurs internal timing. Moments don't need to be tracked as carefully. The sense of what comes next loosens. If the mind tries to label this, it may trail off mid-thought. Labels require energy. Energy is already being redirected downward into regulation. The chest rises less. Breathing shifts lower without direction. Carbon dioxide remains present a moment longer. That presence deepens calm without sedation. The nervous system prefers steadiness over intensity. Is less than #0. 5 is greater than. Nothing dramatic is required. You might sense a subtle heaviness developing. Not weight. More like reduced readiness. Muscle tone drops when the brain stops preparing for the next demand. No demand is arriving. The system can verify that now. Breath moves again. In, almost absent. Out, long, unforced. With each cycle, sensory signals dim slightly. Edges soften without effort. Internal noise loses its urgency. There is nothing you need to remember from this. The body remembers this state easily when it encounters this voice again. Retention is biological, not mental. The body keeps what it needs automatically. Thought fragments may appear and dissolve before forming meaning. That fragmentation is useful. Complete thoughts keep the system upright. Breath continues. Out, extended, even. As exhalation remains longer than inhalation, vagal tone increases. Heart rate variability improves without awareness. This is the doorway into sustained overnight regulation. There will be a point later where effort drops even further. No need to anticipate it. The system reaches it on its own schedule. For now, notice the absence of urgency. No signal is asking for action. The body recognizes safety through repetition, not reassurance. Another breath passes. In, quiet. Out, longer, settled. The ground of support no longer needs checking. Postural muscles release their readiness. Balance maintains itself without attention. Language itself can thin now. Shorter phrases, less structure. The mind doesn't need complexity to stay present. Breath continues. Out, extended, unchanged. There is no requirement to arrive anywhere. No identity needs to be adjusted yet. This first settling is simply about letting the system stop holding. The body understands how to do the rest. If your body has been awake while you were exhausted, breath is already moving differently now. Not because anything was done, because effort is no longer interfering. In, arrives quietly. Out, leaves longer than before. That extended leaving continues to signal downward through the chest and abdomen. Baroreceptors register less urgency. Circulatory pressure steadies without supervision. There is less reason for the brain to stay alert when the body stops asking questions. Questions keep systems awake. Silence between signals allows drift. Thought may still attempt to form, but it arrives softer now, less complete. Fragments don't demand answers. They fade before structure appears. Another breath cycle moves through. In, barely registered. Out, long, smooth. With each extended exhale, carbon dioxide remains present a fraction longer. That presence reduces the drive to inhale urgently. Urgency dissolves first. The nervous system prefers predictability. This rhythm is predictable without being controlled. That combination lowers internal vigilance. Muscle tone continues to soften, not collapsing, simply releasing readiness. There is no need to check if this is working. This system already knows how to settle. Checking reactivates monitoring circuits. Monitoring delays descent. Breath continues again. Out, extended, unchanged. As exhalation length remains consistent, heart rhythm stays distant. Intervals do not require tracking. Variability increases quietly. This quiet increase matters more than intensity. The system responds to steadiness, not force. Sensory input dims a little more, not disappearing, just losing priority. Edges soften. Internal signals blend instead of separating. Another breath passes. In, faint. Out, longer, even. As breathing lowers, the diaphragm moves with less resistance. That movement massages vagal pathways indirectly. The message remains the same. No response required. If a thought tries to organize, it may trail off midway. Incomplete organization reduces cognitive load. The mind releases its grip when outcomes are unnecessary. There is no future task to prepare for here. Preparation keeps muscle tone elevated. Tone is already lowering on its own. Breath moves again. Out, long, settled. The sense of position becomes less important. Orientation requires energy. Energy is being conserved now. Internal timing softens further. Moments don't line up in sequence as clearly. Before and after lose sharp edges. This blurring is not confusion, it's efficiency. The brain reduces precision when precision isn't needed. Another breath cycle completes itself. In, barely present. Out, extended, unchanged. Blood flow redistributes downward. Hands and feet may feel less distinct. That diffusion signals parasympathetic dominance. There is nothing to correct in this process. Correction implies error. Nothing here is misaligned. Awareness itself can relax its focus, not narrowing, not expanding, simply resting without a center. No need to gather. Breath continues. Out, long, even. As monitoring decreases, effort drops again. Effort is heavy. Absence of effort lightens everything. There will be deeper quiet ahead. No need to reach for it. Reaching tightens the system. This phase is about staying where descent is already happening. Staying requires nothing. Another breath passes. Out, extended, steady. Internal activity loses structure now. Language fragments. Meaning thins. The nervous system recognizes this as safe as less than #0. 3# is greater than familiar and repeatable. Safety is repetition without demand. That repetition continues. The body holds itself without preparation. No readiness waits. Support remains assumed. Breath continues on its own. Out, long, unchanged. If your mind has been busy even while your body is tired, breath is quieter now. Not smaller, just less noticed. In, arrives without announcement. Out, stays a little longer than needed. That extra length continues to lower internal drive. Chemoreceptors settle into tolerance. The urge to adjust fades. There is less signal reaching the thinking centers. Not because anything is blocked, because less is being sent. Thought attempts now arrive incomplete. Edges missing. Endings not required. Incomplete thoughts dissolve without effort. Completion costs energy. Energy is being conserved. Another breath cycle moves through. In, faint. Out, extended, even. As exhalation continues to dominate, vagal tone deepens. Heart rhythm becomes less available to awareness. Distance increases naturally. Distance does not mean disconnection. It means you are safe enough not to monitor. The system trusts its baseline. Muscle tone drops another fraction. Not all at once. In layers. Layers release when there is no upcoming demand. No demand is forming, is less than #0. 9# is greater than. The body confirms this repeatedly. Breath continues. Out, long, unchanged. Sensory information arrives with less clarity. not absent, just less defined. Defined signals require interpretation. Interpretation activates the prefrontal cortex. That activation is fading. Another breath passes. In, barely there. Out, extended, steady. Internal timing continues to blur. Moments no longer stack cleanly. Sequence loosens. Without sequence, anticipation weakens. Anticipation keeps systems alert. Alertness is no longer required. Thought fragments appear without direction. They do not organize. They do not resolve. Resolution implies a problem. No problem is present. The system responds accordingly. Breath continues again. Out, longer, settled. As breathing remains low and slow, blood flow redistributes. Pressure equalizes quietly. The baroflex stabilizes without supervision. There is nothing to hold attention here. Nothing to track. Nothing to correct. Attention loosens when there is no task. Loosened attention allows drift. Drift deepens on its own. Another breath cycle completes. In, faint. Out, extended, unchanged. Awareness does not need a center now. Centering requires effort. Effort is unnecessary. Without a center, signals blend is less than #0. 9 hashes greater than boundaries soften. Separation loses meaning. This blending reduces cognitive load further. The brain simplifies when complexity is not useful. Simplification continues. Breath moves again. Out, long, even. If awareness drifts briefly and returns, nothing changes. Return is shallow. Departure is deeper. This slight rise and deeper drop repeats naturally. No need to label it. The nervous system recognizes this pattern as familiar and repeatable. Another breath passes. In, quiet. Out, extended, steady. Language inside the mind thins further. Fewer words form. Spacing increases. Spacing allows rest between signals. Rest prevents reactivation. Reactivation is unnecessary. Muscle tone remains low and neutral. No readiness returns. No impulse waits. The body holds itself without preparation. Support is assumed without checking. Balance maintains itself. Breath continues. Out, long, unchanged. There is no need to know what comes next. Knowing keeps awareness upright. Unknowing allows descent. Another breath cycle moves through. In, barely present. Out, extended, even. The system remains stable, unchanged, without monitoring. If attention has felt effortful tonight, breath no longer asks for attention. It continues without emphasis. In, arrives on its own. Out, remains longer than needed. That imbalance stays gentle. Gentle is enough. With each extended exhale, internal pressure remains stable. Baroreceptors stay quiet. No corrective signal is sent upward. The brain responds to silence by reducing output. Less commentary, less structure. Thought fragments appear and dissolve before forming sequence. Beginnings without middles, middles without endings. This fragmentation is efficient. Linear thinking requires effort. Effort is already dropping away. Another breath cycle passes. In, faint. Out, extended, unchanged. As breathing stays low and even, vagal tone holds steady. Heart rhythm remains distant. Intervals do not separate enough to track. Tracking would imply importance. Nothing here needs importance assigned. The system recognizes neutrality as safe and familiar. Muscle tone continues to rest in a low, neutral state. Not releasing further, not tightening. Neutrality allows long-term regulation. Extremes exhaust the system. Balance sustains itself. Breath continues again. Out, long, steady. Sensory input arrives without urgency. Signals blend before separating. Edges soften before clarity forms. Clarity is optional now. The brain stops sharpening signals when precision is unnecessary. Unnecessary effort fades. Another breath completes itself. In, barely present. Out, extended, unchanged. Internal timing continues to dissolve. Moments no longer stack cleanly. Sequence loses relevance. Without sequence, anticipation cannot hold. Without anticipation, alertness softens further. The system settles deeper. If awareness drifts and briefly reappears, it does so without strength. Return is thin. Departure is heavier. This slight rise and deeper drop repeats naturally. No need to name it. The nervous system recognizes this pattern as familiar and repeatable. Breath continues. Out, long, even. Blood flow remains evenly distributed. Pressure regulation holds without variation. No internal adjustment forms. The prefrontal cortex reduces involvement when outcomes are irrelevant. Outcomes are irrelevant here. There is nothing to achieve. Language inside the mind thins again. Shorter fragments. More space between them. Space matters. Space allows recovery between signals. Recovery prevents reactivation. Another breath passes. In, quiet. Out, extended, settled. Awareness no longer gathers around a point. No center forms. No edge needs softening. Without a center, effort dissolves further. Effort is heavy. Absence of effort lightens everything. The body holds itself without preparation. No readiness returns. No impulse waits. Support remains unquestioned. Checking would require energy. Energy is being conserved. Breath continues again. Out, long, unchanged. There is no need to follow these words. Following implies direction. Direction is unnecessary. The system uses repetition, not instruction, to settle. This repetition continues quietly. Another breath cycle completes. In, faint. Out, extended, even. Internal sensation arrives without boundary. Nothing separates enough to be noticed. Everything blends. This blending reduces signal contrast. Low contrast requires less processing. Processing continues to slow. There is no recognition of a next step. No marker indicating progress. The system remains exactly where it is. Stable. Unchanged. Without monitoring, breath continues. Out, extended, steady. If you've been tired of trying to rest, breath continues without asking anything from you. It moves on its own rhythm. In, barely present. Out, long, even, unchanged. That sameness matters. Sameness tells the nervous system there is nothing new to respond to. When nothing is new, vigilance releases. Heart rhythm stays distant. Intervals no longer stand apart. They blur into continuity. Continuity reduces internal checking. Checking requires effort. Effort has already fallen away. Another breath cycle completes itself. In, faint. Out, extended, settled. Carbon dioxide remains present just a little longer now. That presence signals tolerance instead of urgency. Urgency dissolves before thought does. Thought no longer arrives as a stream. It arrives in fragments. Fragments lose gravity quickly. Without gravity, they don't pull attention upward. Attention stays diffuse. Diffusion reduces cognitive load. Breath continues again. Out, long, unchanged. Muscle tone remains low and neutral. Not dropping further. Not preparing. Preparation would suggest something is coming. Nothing is coming. The body has confirmed this repeatedly. Another breath passes. In, quiet. Out, extended, even. As breathing stays slow and predictable, the baroflex remains stable. Blood pressure regulation requires no correction. No corrective signals travel upward. When correction stops, the prefrontal cortex disengages further. Disengagement allows deeper drift. Drift does not need encouragement. Awareness now feels less like a point and more like a field. Not wide, not narrow. Just present without structure. Structure requires maintenance. Maintenance has stopped. Breath continues. Out, long, steady, is less than Hashone. 2 hash is greater than. Internal sensation blends more completely. Signals overlap before separating. Separation becomes optional. Optional signals fade faster. Fading reduces processing demand. Processing slows further. Another breath cycle moves through. In, barely there. Out, extended, unchanged. The sense of location softens. Orientation loses relevance. Relevance keeps awareness upright. Without relevance, posture inside the mind relaxes. No need to stay oriented. No direction to return to. Thought fragments may still appear. They do not connect. Connection requires energy. Energy is being conserved for restoration, not thinking. Restoration continues quietly. Without supervision, breath continues again. Out, long, even. Heart rhythm remains steady and distant. No beat asks for attention. Distance increases comfort. Comfort here is not emotional. It is safe, physiological neutrality. Neutrality sustains overnight. Another breath passes. In, faint. Out, extended, settled. Internal timing dissolves further. Moments no longer separate cleanly. Before and after lose definition. Without definition, anticipation cannot form. Without anticipation, alertness cannot hold. Alertness releases again. This release does not need to deepen quickly. Speed creates monitoring. Monitoring interrupts descent. Breath continues at its own pace. Out, long, unchanged. If awareness lifts briefly, it does so without strength. Lifting is thin. Settling is heavier. This gentle rise and deeper settling repeats naturally. The nervous system recognizes safety in this familiar, repeatable cycle. Recognition remains unconscious. Another breath cycle completes itself. In, quiet. Out, extended, steady. Language inside the mind continues to thin. Fewer words. More space. Space allows recovery between neural signals. Recovery prevents reactivation. Reactivation is unnecessary. The body holds no preparatory tone. No readiness returns. Support remains assumed. Breath continues. Out, long, unchanged. There is no recognition of progress. No signal that something is happening. The system remains exactly as it is. Stable, unchanged, without monitoring. Another breath passes. Out, extended, even. If you've been holding yourself together all day, breath remains steady without reference. It no longer signals beginning or end. In barely registers. Out, long, even, unchanged. That sameness continues to quiet internal measurement. When measurement stops, comparison fades. There is less distinction between one moment and the next. Sequence no longer organizes experience. Without sequence, thought cannot build momentum. Momentum dissolves before it forms. Another breath cycle completes itself. Out, extended, settled. The nervous system now rests in a sustained parasympathetic state. Heart rhythm remains distant. Intervals do not separate enough to track. Distance reduces identity around sensation. Sensation no longer points back to someone noticing it. Muscle tone holds low and neutral. No readiness returns. Readiness would imply a future response. No response is needed. Breath continues. Out, long, unchanged. Internal sensation arrives as a blended field. Nothing separates enough to be named. Naming would require structure. Structure is unnecessary now. Another breath passes. In, faint. Out, extended, steady. Awareness no longer gathers. It does not narrow. It does not expand. Without gathering, effort dissolves further. Effort has nothing to attach to. Thought fragments, if they appear at all, remain unfinished. Unfinished thought cannot anchor identity. This absence is not noticed. Noticing would require orientation. Breath continues again. Out, long, even. The sense of holding yourself together no longer applies here. There is nothing being held. What remains does not require maintenance. Maintenance costs energy. Energy is being conserved for restoration alone. Another breath cycle completes. Out, extended, unchanged. Internal timing dissolves further. No before. No after. Without time markers, concern cannot form. Concern depends on sequence. Sequence has faded. Breath remains. Out, long, steady. Identity begins to soften here, safely and without effort. Not through effort. Through absence of reinforcement. The version of you that stays alert has nothing to respond to. Without response, it loosens. No declaration is needed. No affirmation is required yet. Softening happens by omission. Another breath passes. In, barely present. Out, extended, even. There is less sense of being someone doing this. More sense of process continuing on its own. Process does not ask questions. It does not evaluate. Breath continues. Out, long, unchanged. The system recognizes this as safe, familiar, and repeatable. Remaining requires no effort. Awareness does not orient. There is no direction to return to. Another breath cycle completes itself. Out, extended, steady. Nothing advances. Nothing concludes. The body holds no preparatory tone. Support remains unquestioned. Breath continues. Out, long, unchanged. If you've been tired of having to participate in rest, breath continues without any sense of participation. It happens. In, barely touches awareness. Out, long, even unchanged. That unchanged rhythm removes the last reason to monitor. Monitoring fades when nothing varies. Variation would require response. No response is forming. Another breath cycle completes itself. Out, extended, settled. Internal sensation remains blended. No clear edges. No distinct signals. Distinction requires attention. Attention no longer gathers. Awareness stays diffuse without effort. Not spread. Not focused. Just present without structure. Breath continues again. Out, long, unchanged. Heart rhythm remains distant and unremarkable. Distance removes personal relevance. Relevance keeps identity active. Without relevance, identity softens further. There is no clear boundary between sensation and observer now. Boundary dissolves when comparison stops. Comparison requires memory. Memory is quiet here. Another breath passes. In, faint. Out, extended, even. Thought does not organize. Fragments may appear, but they don't connect. Connection would require a center. No center is forming. Without a center, language loses gravity. Words fail to assemble. Breath continues. Out, long, steady. The sense of me holding experience together is absent now, and nothing is wrong with that. Not removed, just unnecessary. Unnecessary structures dissolve quietly. No effort is involved. Another breath cycle completes itself. Out, extended, unchanged. Muscle tone remains low and neutral. No readiness returns. Readiness would signal a future moment. Future is no longer referenced. Internal timing continues to flatten. Moments blend without order. Order requires orientation. Orientation has faded. Breath continues again. Out, long, even. Identity softening continues through absence. Nothing is added. Nothing is affirmed. What once needed maintenance no longer does. Maintenance ends when demand ends. Another breath passes. In, barely present. Out, extended, steady. Awareness does not check itself. Checking would imply separation. Separation is no longer clear. Breath remains. Out, long, unchanged. There is no sense of depth being reached. No signal that something has changed. The system stays exactly as it is: safe, familiar, and repeatable. Stable, unremarkable. Another breath cycle completes. Out, extended, even. Nothing advances. Nothing resolves. Continuation does not require awareness. Breath continues. Out, long, unchanged. If you've been carrying control all day, breath continues without any sense of ownership. It moves. In, barely noticed. Out, long, even, unchanged. That unchanged pattern keeps the system from re-engaging. Engagement requires contrast. Contrast has faded. Another breath cycle completes itself. Out, extended, steady. Internal sensation arrives as a single field. Not layered. Not divided. Division would require attention. Attention remains diffuse. Diffuse awareness does not hold edges. Without edges, nothing stands apart. Breath continues again. Out, long, unchanged. Heart rhythm stays distant and neutral. No beat asks to be noticed. Noticing would pull awareness upward. Upward movement has no traction now. Another breath passes. In, faint. Out, extended, even. Thought does not gather into content. Fragments dissolve before they organize. Organization requires sequence. Sequence is no longer active. Without sequence, memory does not assemble. Without memory, identity has nothing to reference. Breath continues. Out, long, steady. The sense of being here softens further, and that is safe. Location loses importance. Importance activates vigilance. Vigilance is no longer supported. Another breath cycle completes itself. Out, extended, unchanged. Muscle tone remains low. even, neutral. No impulse returns. Impulse would suggest direction. Direction has dissolved. Breath continues again. Out, long, even. Awareness does not orient inward or outward. Orientation has no anchor. Without an anchor, effort falls away completely. Nothing is being held. Another breath passes. In, barely present. Out, extended, steady. Internal timing has flattened almost entirely. Moments no longer separate. Separation would require contrast. Contrast remains absent. Breath remains. Out, long, unchanged. There is no recognition that anything is deepening. No signal that something has shifted. The system remains exactly where it is safe, familiar, and repeatable. Stable, unchanged. Another breath cycle completes itself. Out, extended, even. Continuation happens without awareness. Awareness is optional now. Breath continues. Out, long, unchanged. If you're used to your system constantly shifting, nothing announces a change from this state. Nothing signals movement. Breath continues as it has been. In, barely registered. Out, long, even, unchanged. That lack of change prevents re-engagement. The system rests because nothing requires response. Another breath cycle completes itself. Out, extended, steady. Internal sensation remains fully blended. No boundary forms. Boundaries would require attention. Attention does not collect. Breath continues again. Out, long, unchanged. Heart rhythm stays distant and neutral. Intervals do not separate. Separation would imply tracking. Tracking is absent. Another breath passes. In, faint. Out, extended, even. Thought does not organize. There is no structure for it to follow. Structure would require sequence. Sequence is no longer present. Breath continues. Out, long, steady. The sense of position dissolves further, and nothing needs to correct that. No internal direction remains. Direction would imply return. There is no return to make. Another breath cycle completes itself. Out, extended, unchanged. Muscle tone stays low and neutral. No readiness forms. Readiness would suggest anticipation. Anticipation has faded. Breath continues again. Out, long, even. Awareness does not orient. It does not gather. Gathering would create effort. Effort is absent. Another breath passes. In, barely present. Out, extended, steady. Internal timing has nearly dissolved. Moments no longer separate. Without separation, concern cannot arise. Concern requires contrast. Breath remains. Out, long, unchanged. There is no recognition that anything is ending. No signal of completion. The system remains exactly as it is, safe, familiar, and repeatable. Stable. Unchanged. Another breath cycle completes itself. Out, extended, even. Continuation requires no awareness. Awareness fades naturally. Breath continues. Out, long, unchanged. If part of you is waiting for an ending, there is no recognition of a final phase. Nothing signals completion. Breath continues without emphasis. In, barely present. Out, long, even, unchanged. That sameness remains. No adjustment forms. Heart rhythm stays distant. Intervals do not separate. Muscle tone remains low and neutral. No readiness returns. Another breath cycle completes itself. Out, extended, unchanged. Awareness does not orient, and nothing needs to. There is no direction to return to. No reference remains. Internal sensation arrives without boundary. Everything blends. Nothing separates enough to be noticed. The body holds no preparatory tone. Breath continues. Out, long, unchanged. There is no sequence of moments now. No before. No after. Nothing advances. Nothing concludes. Breath remains. Out, extended, steady. Continuation maintains itself, safely and repeatably. Without monitoring,